Hey everybody, I have a video here for you today, and this isn't my usual subject matter, but since I can talk about anything I want to, I wanted to make a video about this today. We have lost a lot of people in 2016, a lot of famous people, and I usually don't make videos when people pass away, but there are a few times I have, and this year, these three people here, Gordie Howe, Muhammad Ali, and Arnold Palmer. We lost these three sports heroes in 2016, and I guess the reason why I wanted to talk about this is these were heroes of my youth and pretty special people. So since I can make a video about anything I want to, I thought I would talk about these three people today. And when you lose heroes of your youth, it just kind of stings a little bit more, and you just reminisce about things that they had done and you had seen and what you had thought of them as a kid when you were very impressionable. But the first one I want to talk about here, I'll just go in order here, is on the left here, Gordie Howe, Mr. Hockey, and this is his website. And when I was a kid growing up in Minnesota and playing hockey as a little kid, I mean, there wasn't anybody who had more of a presence, I guess, in my mind than Gordie Howe. There was some other great hockey players back then, but Gordie Howe was definitely Mr. Hockey, and some of the things that he accomplished were just incredible in the hockey world, and some still stand today. He was born in March of 1928, and he made his debut for the Red Wings in 1946. And by the way, this is GordieHowe.com, and I will leave this link below that you are looking at. But he made his debut in 1946, and then from 1950 to 1954, he led the league in scoring. In 1953, he set the league scoring record. He won 4 Stanley Cups, 6 Hart trophies as the league MVP, 6 Ross trophies as the leading scorer, and he retired in 1971. And from 1946 to 1971, that's an incredibly long career for a hockey player playing a pretty brutal sport. But 2 years later, in 1973, he came out of retirement and played in the WHA. He joined his sons Marty and Mark and played for 6 more years. And I have total admiration for NHL players these days who are playing, you know, when they're 37, 38 years old. Well, Gordie Howe played into his 50s, and that I think is one of the most remarkable things in NHL history right there. And in the WHA, when he was in his late 40s, he scored over 100 points twice in his late 40s. That's truly remarkable. Now, I am just going to play some brief snippets of the great Wayne Gretzky and the Detroit Red Wings great Steve Yzerman talking about Mr. Gordie Howe.
Taught so many people so many great things about the game of hockey, and more importantly, he taught us all about life and how to be humble and respectful, not only to family and friends, but to the game of hockey.
Gordie Howe's name is synonymous with hockey. His face, his name, Mr. Hockey. He's known to everyone in Canada and around the world.
Once again, I will leave a link for that entire video if you want to check it out. The hockey world lost its Mr. Hockey this year in June, and anybody playing hockey in the past decades, I think it's pretty much universal that they look up to Gordie Howe as Mr. Hockey. He had a presence and a respect that maybe in baseball you could kind of compare it to Joe DiMaggio. But Mr. Howe, you will be missed, and your legacy will live on forever in the NHL. And now going on to Muhammad Ali. Now, when I was a little kid, there were just a few things that, you know, were considered big events on TV. And one of them was Evel Knievel doing a motorcycle jump. And the other was watching Muhammad Ali box on TV. He was the most famous person in the world at this time and continued that position for a long time. And I did not grow up in the time where the draft came into play and he was suspended from boxing, and his conversion and changing his name to Muhammad Ali, that all came before my time, and it really wasn't a concern of mine as a kid. All I knew is this guy was a great boxer, and he was charismatic, and he was very funny. And one of the things I like about life most is laughing, and Muhammad Ali made me laugh. And as his legacy grew on, and he came down with Parkinson's disease, he still championed issues that he always had, and he showed incredible bravery. And I don't think anybody will forget the lighting of the Olympic torch at the Olympic Games in Atlanta in 1996. But Muhammad Ali brought us tremendous memories in the ring, in the Olympics, and then beating just one of the baddest men ever to come into the ring in Sonny Liston in the mid-60s. Had a famous fight out here in Las Vegas and in Miami. And his bouts with Joe Frazier were some of the biggest sporting events of the 20th century, let alone just in the boxing world. His bout with him in 1971, or was it 70, in Madison Square Garden was maybe the biggest sports event of the 20th century as far as the interest and the draw and the people who went to that event. And I will try to leave a link for a documentary on that night. But beating George Frazier at this time in George Foreman. Beating George Foreman in 1974 was something that nobody thought he could do. George Foreman was the baddest man on the planet at the time. And I think I remember as a kid watching George Foreman fight 8 guys in one afternoon in one match, or one boxing match, and nobody thought Ali was going to win. And his performance in Kinshasa, Zaire, in the Rumble in the Jungle is one of the greatest boxing feats of all time. And he was not a young man when he did it, but he probably boxed too long, and that was just his pride and his confidence in himself. But I am just going to play a few clips now from Muhammad Ali talking about just different things. I mean, very funny. And you can talk all you want about Run DMC, but Muhammad Ali was the original rapper. So I'm just going to play just a short little snippet of clips here of Muhammad Ali, and even a car commercial I found. So here you go with that right now.
Time to do the Ali Shuffle. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the regular dance that I use just before the shuffle. I'm moving and I'm moving and I'm jumping around, and just before you know it, that's Ali Shuffle from the side. You see, that's the side beat. I'm not conceited, I'm just convinced. Harry, listen, I'm so modest, I can admit my own fault. And my only fault is I don't realize how great I really am. Well, number one, he's too ugly to be the world heavyweight champion.
Age doesn't matter in nobody's case.
I'm not saying you
right?
old.
All right.
I'm not saying you your age.
I'm gonna be out there every second smoking, Jack. Every second.
You gonna be smoking, and I ain't gonna be joking. I'm gonna be packing and a poking, pouring water on your smoking.
You can't have it.
And this might shock.
Don't never die.
This might shock you to me, but I'm gonna retire Joe Frazier. Let me tell you something, boy. Somebody told me you got. I said, Roy.
At the sign of the cat, you'll find Lincoln Mercury's hottest selling new entry in 14 years, Mercury Monarch. We think it's the greatest.
I didn't know that.
The precision-sized Monarch ES 256 is engineered for 18 to 26 miles per gallon under highway conditions, 14 to 18 under city conditions.
That's something to think about.
Monarch sticker prices, including white walls, start under $3,800. Delivery, dealer prep, title, and taxes extra. Mercury Monarch.
It's cool at the sign of the cat.
And once again, this is MuhammadAli.com, and I will leave the link for this below if you want to check it out. But Champ, you will be missed, not just by boxing fans, but just by people in general who you touched their lives for many different reasons. But you will definitely be missed, and your legacy will live on forever. Now, the last person I want to talk about is Arnold Palmer. And this one really touched my brother and I. We are avid golfers, and we have followed Arnold Palmer's life and his story. And as with Gordie Howe and Muhammad Ali, it was much more than golf that made Arnold Palmer who he was. It wasn't just the sport these people played. It was the person who they were. And I will leave some links below on some stories from Arnold Palmer's life, but this is arniesarmy.org. I think this is his official website, and a life well played. That says it all. I don't think there's anything more Arnold Palmer could have accomplished. It was a complete life, and he knew what was truly important. In today's PGA Tour, the tremendous money that is generated for both charities and players' checks, winnings, that can all go back to Arnold Palmer's original popularity that he instilled in the PGA Tour about 50 years ago. And players today owe him an incredible amount of gratitude, and they talk about that all the time. Now, I am just going to play just a brief clip of Arnold Palmer talking about his early life when he wasn't really even allowed to play at the country club in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. And I am just going to play a brief clip of Arnold talking about his early life. And here that is right now.
There's no question about the fact that I wanted to be able to swim in the swimming pool with the other kids, and I wanted to be able to go into the clubhouse like the other kids could, but I wasn't allowed to. I suppose the only satisfaction that came from some of the things that happened in those days was that when I went swimming, I swam in the stream that ran by the golf course, and I got to use the water before the members got to use it. They pumped the water from that stream into the swimming pool, but that was sort of an inside thing with us, and we did get a kick out of it. But as I say, and as you have said, my father was a disciplinarian, and he considered it a privilege that he was able to work at the club. And as far as the privileges of the club, that was off bounds for us. The end result was that America is a great place, and from the days of my not being able to enjoy the luxuries of a country club, I now own the club, and I do enjoy it, and I'm very pleased, and I feel very privileged that this country has given people like myself the opportunity to do the things that I've been able to do. I think that could define the American dream for anyone. It doesn't matter whether it's a country club or a steel mill or whatever it might be. The opportunity to go from the lowest position in the steel mill, the golf course, the business, whether it be a accounting firm or a law firm or whatever it is, that you can go from that position to the head of that firm, or to the head of the club, or to own the club, or the steel mill, or whatever it might be.
And there is a little bit from Mr. Arnold Palmer. And once again, this is arniesarmy.org, and I will leave this link below, but it has a little video of his memorial service and a link to his charitable foundation, which has raised millions and millions of dollars for people who really need it. And I'm going to try to leave a few other links below. But indeed, it was a life well played, Mr. Palmer, and the PGA today owes you a tremendous amount of gratitude. But wrapping up here, Mr. Gordie Howe, Muhammad Ali, and Mr. Palmer, you will always live on in the corner of my heart that's reserved for the little boy that I am. And you will live on in the hearts of people all around the world. And I am just going to take you out with just a little video montage of these three sports heroes from my youth. I hope you enjoyed this video, and you all have a very safe and happy New Year.